Welcome to the Crafty View. I'm Diane Williams, the host for today's show, and I have a great guest with me today. You won't see him in person. He's on the telephone because sometimes people are not able to get on Zoom, and that's okay. But we're traveling this time to Olive Branch, Mississippi, and we're going to do this via the telephone, the old-fashioned way. So my guest today is Robert Funderburk. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Diane. I really go by RP, but Robert is my real name, so RP or Robert, whichever. But I'm glad to be on the phone with you.
Thank you, RP. I'm going to call you RP then. I've never done that before.
That's what most people call me.
Well, great. Great. Well, what I've done is I have some of the images of your work, images of you in your studio. I have it on my computer, and I want people to know what you look like. So they should be able to see this now. This is the one where you were at the Memphis Farmers Market. You remember that? That was one December.
I like the Memphis Farmer Market. It's under pavilion. I don't have to bring a tent. I'm getting older and lazier, so I just love the Memphis Farmer Market because I can leave my tent at home and sell my birdhouses.
That's nice. This is a great picture of you smiling. You've got your birdhouses there. They're saying that they held over that event, so it must have been a successful event.
Yep. The Memphis Farmer Market is good for me. It gets tourists. When I do town festival, it's the same people week after week. So the Memphis Farmer Market, half my sales are tourists, people coming to Memphis for whatever reason. So that really helps sales.
Oh, that's great. Tell me, RP?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know if it was, I forgot already. All right, RP, how long have you been creating birdhouses, and how long have you been interested in doing this?
Well, this is my 15th full time. When I got Social Security, I quit being a carpenter and became full-time arts and craftsman. And birds, well, I always tell people they called it the old boards I had, which is true. I had a bunch of piles of old boards I didn't want to throw away, and I finally figured out something to do with them. But when I was growing up, I had a cousin and her husband that were noted famous birders. You know, they just were famous. What can I tell you? They would go around Mexico and everywhere else and record birds at night. And it was always fascinating to me about birds because of them. So I just kind of always liked birds and had boards, and away I went.
So this is since the 1950s, huh? When you were young, really young.
Yeah. They came by my grandmother, and we'd visit, of course, and they was just a nice, peculiar couple. You know, they were different, but they were a nice family. They were different because he wore shorts in the 50s. Men did not wear shorts, so we'd always have to talk about them when they left. Can you believe he wore shorts?
No, I can't believe that.
And then they were just a nice couple. It was always nice and friendly and smile, so I just always liked them.
Wow. Incredible. So you were interested since you were little. How do you find these boards?
Well, I've done it so long, Diane. People have always supported me since I started this. There's one guy, every bit of 10 for 15 years have come from the same guy. He won't bulldoze or tear down till I get to 10. And other people, I'll just come home and it'd be board piled up there. People just have been real supportive of my endeavor, and always glad that I've done well.
Wow.
So if just boards show up, or somebody will bring me a pile of fencing that ain't no count, but I'll figure out something to do with it.
Well,
so really, I bought very, very few boards in this whole 15 years. Maybe 20 boards is all I've ever bought.
It takes a community, doesn't it? That's what I always say. And you have a studio?
Yes, a little shop I made. I got a old pony barn that I store my stuff in, boards, saws, tin, all that. Just a junk place. And then I built a little 12 by 14 freestanding building that's dry and doesn't leak. And that's where I do my nailing. I cut my patterns and then I bring them to my shop and see what'll happen when I lay them out and look at them and think about them. It just kind of happens. I don't know how to explain it. It's just all of a sudden there's a nice something to do.
Wow. Wow. And where
another thing that really helped me, I get these little mini grants from the Mississippi Arts Commission. You know, it ain't no great big money amount, but still, they buy pretty well covers all my materials for the year. It has to be materials, screws, hinges, nails, paint, saw blades, that sort of thing.
Well,
and it's really just about covers all my expenses for the year, which is really pretty neat to be recognized by the Mississippi Arts Commission.
that is true. And those mini grants are up to $500, aren't they?
That's what I get is the 500.
Nice. And then that gets your supplies. And then your cost doesn't have to be so expensive, does it?
No, I'm not really out anything much.
Yeah. And you
Not
can turn
anymore.
that over to your customer.
And one thing that really cheered me on, I've been making them a year or so, and just they wasn't much to them, just little nothings. And this guy that used to be in the guild, he said, "You need to apply to the guild." And I said, "Okay." So I dragged my old wild birdhouse down to Jackson when it was over at the Agricultural Center, I think it was. And I saw what everybody else was showing, you know, really good craft, and mine was, you know, kind of tacky. And they wouldn't let me drop out. They said, "We got to have somebody that acts like they're making something handmade." So I said, "Okay, well, I'll leave them then." But I really thought I was in over my head. Well, I was really glad the guild took me in. I was kind of surprised they were fooling me at them days.
You're what we call a folk artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you use the things that can be found in and around the community, but also I'm looking at a piece right now that says Bluesman Bo Diddley, who do you love? And talk about your birdhouses that relate to the blues.
Well, it's to make a living. It don't make a living, make good money. Where I make my big paychecks are blues festivals. That's just the way it's always been. I do about 3 blues festivals a year, and people have been buying my birdhouses for 10, 11, 12 years straight. They just, first thing they do to get to the festival and go find my booth. And that's how I get them all overseas. Before the virus, people from all over the world would come to these little blues festivals. And I've got the birdhouses in 22 countries now.
Really?
Mainly because of the blues festival.
I like how you keep track of that. So you're talking to your customers, they're telling you where they're from, where they're going with these birdhouses, right?
Oh, I'm a people person. I grew up retailing, and I just always like to talk to people. Some people just kind of sit behind the booth, but sheesh, I'm going to run out there and say, "What? You ought to buy 2, or you ought to buy 3, you know, teasing them, you know." Just I'm a people person. I ain't going to be quiet around anybody.
That is fabulous, just fabulous. I'm looking at some of the birdhouses, and they relate to like churches, things like that.
Yeah, it's back to retailing again. It's according to where I'm working. For example, I'm working the Memphis Farming Market. I bring things that relate to Memphis and things that a tourist will buy. And if I take a notion to go to some small town, you know, Kosciuszko or Charleston or wherever, I research and figure out they're bound to have something they're famous for. So I figure out, some old barn, some old church, some musician, some author, something. Every town got something they kind of halfway proud of, and I'll feature that. And people want to buy a souvenir of their hometown.
Yeah, wow. I've got a lot of pictures here of your work, and I'd like to talk to you about some of the ones that you create that relate to churches. And I think you got a commission one time.
Oh, I'd get commissioned pretty regular. One of them was a lot of trouble. Some lady wanted a church with 3 windows and lights in it. One of them little, I don't know, LED lights or some such mess. And it was about more trouble than I wanted to do, but I made her one, and somebody else wanted one, and I told them that was all. I'm not back any more of them things. I had to measure everything, Diane, and I'm not much of a measurer. I get pretty damn close, but these would have to be almost exact, and that was kind of troublesome for me.
And it's kind of easy for me, but it's kind of hard for me to talk to you craftspeople because I collect and I just love all the work that you guys and gals do. And I'm showing a picture right now, and I hope I say it correctly. And world, please forgive me. The Talandaceas. I think it was around the end of 2020 when you started showing some of these Talandaceas on your Facebook page, and
Yeah.
and though they're a perennial flowering plant that's native to forests, mountains, deserts. You can find them in North Mexico and southeastern Louisiana, southeastern United States. You can find them in Argentina, in the Caribbean, and they're very interesting. What got you started doing the Talandaceas?
I just was at Memphis, Shelby County Master Gardeners or something, and this guy had a bunch of them, and he just sold me a whole box for a real cheap, and they were just nice to make something. They decorate the board so pretty. I had a lot of scraps and limbs out of my yard, and it was just a good way to use up old scrap boards, and it was just a really pretty things. And I'll sell about 100 of them a year, and then I'll wait the next spring. The biggest problem with it, I have to keep the dang things alive for 2 or 3 months, which is no trouble. I just have to water them, and don't forget about them and hope the deer don't eat them up or something. So it's just a little troublesome for me to keep up with 50 or 60 plants till I sell them on down. So I just sell them once a year.
I think they're very interesting in the sense that I'm looking at one now, and it has sort of like a pink essence to the base of it.
Yeah.
And they have tiny little roots that connect to a little bit of moss, just could start connecting to the tree limb a little bit that's there. They don't need to be potted.
No, they kind of them things, I guess, like Spanish moss, I guess. They live in a tree. They don't really live on the ground. Well, they will, but that ain't their main place. They kind of own trees or tree limbs or a tree that fell down. So they will deal with dirt, but that's not their main thing. They just want something they can stay moist. And the guy said they get a lot of their nutrition or their vitamins or whatever from the rainwater. He said the main thing, if you can get them rained on, they get, I don't know, vitamins, minerals, whatever's in rainwater. He said if they get rained on, they won't have a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
If the inside, you might have to fertilize them a little bit, but if you can get them rained on, that's all they need. So I guess so. I keep mine in the yard all year. I've had some 6 or 7 years. I just leave them outside till it gets cold.
Oh, do they grow large?
Sort of. Not anything spectacular, but they do grow and they'll bloom and that sort of thing. But nothing like a flower. They just kind of just get a little bigger every year.
And I think when a customer has these, what they can do with the Tillandsias is sprinkle them, like with a squirt bottle of water. That works.
Yeah.
They love that mist like that.
Yeah, they do. They want it misted on. A lot of them, good, like you said, came from Central America down in them jungles in Panama or Guatemala or wherever. So they kind of used to getting rained on and misted on.
Yeah, and I'm looking at one now where you have a picture of a ruler. When I was thinking about purchasing something, that was great. It helped me understand about how big they were.
Yeah, to give people an idea of what window ledge they can put it on. A lot of people put them in their kitchen window so they don't forget about them, or put them in their bathroom window, that
Yeah.
sort of thing, so they'll know if it'll fit in their window ledge.
And I saw where they were selling them on Amazon. Well, go figure.
Yeah.
But they're
I'm kind of mad at Amazon. I used to have a good account with Whole Foods. I mean, a good account. And then when Whole Foods sold out to Amazon, Amazon took away the ability of the local stores to buy local.
okay.
So I lost a good account because Amazon would have took me if I'd have supplied 500 or 600 stores. And
Yeah.
it'd be good to supply myself once a week for the farming market.
We may be needing Amazon to do a commercial, to be one of our commercials on this Zoom that's on I forgot what platform we're on. YouTube. We're on the YouTube platform. So let's talk a little bit more about your birdhouses. What's the funkiest birdhouse you've ever done?
Let's see. One I saw this year was pretty neat. I live it's not in the wood. We're in a mile from Olive Branch, so really suburbs, but it's nothing but trees, really. And a tree blew down. There was some king snake eggs in it that had hatched. The eggshell, and I know the king snakes was around, so I've been making some and sticking king snake eggs on it. So people think that's so cute, so they'll buy the birdhouse with the king snake eggshell on it. Which worked out pretty good.
I see where you've been in libraries. Tell me about some of the venues where you have shown your work.
Sheesh, Diane, I went to so many places back when I was ripping and running, and my wife is older, and my truck's older, so I just don't go very far anymore. But, of course, I did the usual one. I used to do Peter Anderson, but that got to be a long way. And
that was in Ocean Springs, right? On the coast?
Down on the coast. And I would do Woodville, which is way down at the end of, I don't know, Highway 51, maybe, I don't know, almost to Louisiana, and go up to, I don't know, Franklin, Tennessee, but Dyersburg, Tennessee. I would ride and spend the night, but I just don't want to do that no more. I don't really want to ride any farther than Jackson. If y'all was on the other side of Jackson, I probably wouldn't fool with it. It's just, my truck's old and I'm old, and I just don't want to ride that far.
Yeah, and it's a lot to set up. So you have your tent, you have your shelving to put your work on.
Yeah, it takes a while.
And then you have to handle.
Thing, Diane, we can touch on it. People know about it. There ain't no secrets. The world is so mean now, Diane, that I've gotten a little bit leery of going to any town festival. I don't care where it is. And I have to pack up and leave it dark. These crooks, they know damn well who the vendors were. And these crooks know damn well that a vendor might have some money in their pocket. So if it's a, I don't care if it's the blues festival or a town festival, if they want me to stay at the dark, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to ride by myself with $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 in my pocket. Not anymore. I just don't want to be shot for no damn little amount of money. So that's one reason I don't go nowhere anymore, Diane. I don't want to ride at dark.
Well, I think, you have a nice Facebook page where this is where I found all these wonderful pictures of your work. And so people could go to Robert Funderburk's page on Facebook and see a lot of his work. You could communicate with him that way through private message or something. And these birdhouses look good near a tree, outside a door, in a garage. But now remember, these are homes for birds and they love it.
Oh, I had one other interesting I'll tell you about what I'm thinking about is shipping. Somebody from Florida wanted a bluebird box. So I got to thinking and thinking and thinking. And people have always given me stuff that had a whole box of seashells. So, and let me tell you, Dan, a seashell is hard to drill a hole in. I mean, it takes a metal bit to get through a seashell. But anyway, I made a little nest out of seashells and then stuck a cut out bluebird on top of it. So that was one of my latest one I thought was pretty cute.
What's the biggest bird's nest you've built?
My dadgum brother worried me into a bad house, and I didn't make one. I ain't making no more. They just plain, you know. It's big. It's 16 or 18 inches tall and all of that. But so I guess you can call a bat a bird. But and you know, if it's plain, people want wood duck boxes. I say no, we ain't making a wood duck box. They want a hummingbird box. I say no, I ain't making that. If it's plain, you know, I don't want to make the thing. Then go to Walmart. So it has to be something I can be creative on, something I can be glad to sign my name to.
I like where I'm looking at the Miss Cordelia birdhouse, and on that one you did a metal wire window. That was really cute. Yeah.
Miss Cordelia's is one of the accounts I've kept. They ain't sold out to Amazon yet, so they're still buying every week. So I've lost several accounts because of Amazon, a hardware store. A lot of people just have sold out, and when they sell out, I lose discount. So I did keep on keeping on.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. So you may have you may have an agreement with a store, and it may be consignment, or they may pay you outright, but then they sell out to Amazon and places like that, and then you lose that agreement.
Right.
Okay.
And see, they want me to supply 6 or 7 or 10 or 12 stores. I ain't gonna do that. I don't want to do that. So it's just part of the world we live in, Diane, is the big eats the little up, and the little just have to keep scrapping. And I'm little, and I just keep on keeping on. It's been a good way to meet the public and make some money. And the guild has been a big part of it, I tell you.
How long?
You and Sherry and Tamika and all the rest of them.
How long have you been a member?
Shoot, Diane, I don't know no more. I'm a fella, so that means at least 9 years, don't it?
Yeah, it means so about 12 years or so, yeah.
I don't know. Whatever it is to become a fella plus 2 or 3, I don't know.
Nice, very nice. Well, I love your birdhouses. I've seen them all over the state. I think that's fantastic. They even have, I saw in, I think it was around Jones County or Forest County, where they were having, I think I mentioned to you about 2 years ago, a bird house contest or something. These things are popular in the South. I remember one time, RP, I had a bunch of birdhouses in my house. I had a big house, and I had a long stairwell, and I had birdhouses going up the stairwell, birdhouses all around, you know, the living room near the entranceway. And one day a bird got in my house, and he thought he was at home. He was able to fly from birdhouse to birdhouse. I didn't know, you know, us ladies, we get kind of scared when a bird gets in the house. I don't know that we're really afraid of them. I think we don't want them to poop around our house.
That's one of the things about it. Yep, they will do that.
They will do that. So this is fantastic. I love looking at your work. I'd like to know is there anything special that you do around the holidays with your birdhouses? Because that's what really interests people, like Christmas. They, they a little Santa sitting outside or something. What kinds of things have you done?
It goes back to the Memphis Farm and Market. They have a holiday event, the second week in December or whatever it is. And it's just things like that. I don't do the church when they don't ever buy nothing. So it has to be a farm and market or a town event. So you just have been doing it long enough that you can figure it out. So I'm looking at something on the wall that says since 2016, I've been a fellow of the guild.
Okay.
So however long it took me to become a fella +5 is how long I've been in the guild. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. That is fabulous. Just fabulous. What did your wife say when you first started making birdhouses?
See, Liz has always been an artist her whole life. So, she's always been real supportive, I don't critique her work unless she asks me, and she don't critique my work unless I asked her. So we got that worked out, I think something she made ain't too good, I don't dare say nothing. and if I make something she don't think much of, she don't say nothing, so we been married a long time, so we try real hard not to make each other upset. So we don't critique our work.
Well, that is good.
Leave that for somebody else to critique what we're doing.
So you incorporate metal, wood, wire, anything else?
A lot of moss off the trees, and I get a lot of little. I've got a good friend up in Franklin, Tennessee, that's a craftsman, and she's been real supportive over the years. She just sent me a box full of things: wooden guitars, wooden butterflies, wooden birds, wooden crosses, just all sort of things that I can eventually figure out something to do with.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, I don't like Dollar General much because they're always such a junky store.
We're not going to be able to get these people to sponsor YouTube if you keep naming them and you don't like them.
Well, I like Dollar General, but you never know what you're going to find. If I like going to a yard sale, because they just keep buying and selling and buying and selling. But anyway, they've had a lot of cute fairies, little fairies from China that kids just love a fairy birdhouse. Ooh, if you're going to sell anything to a grandkid, you're going to sell them a fairy birdhouse.
I'm looking at one right now.
But the ones now, I've got a little fairies that I can put on them. That's the first thing them kids are going to buy is a fairy birdhouse. So yeah, the Dollar General is good for something. They're good for little things like that. And then I made some. They had a gnomes. People buy gnomes, and they had a gnome that was meditating. So our family of one of them 60s, a round circle with the kind of halfway cross in it. And I said love and peace on it with a meditating gnome, which sold that same week. So it's gone, but I'm making to sell them. So I just always finding something to make them different.
Well, that is fabulous. I've enjoyed having you on the show, and I
feel real honored that y'all put up with me, and I'm honored to be on your show. So thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. And people can find you on Facebook under Robert Funderburk or RP Funderburk.
It has to be Robert. Facebook won't take initials for some stupid reason, so you have to use Robert. Okay,
Robert Funderburk. Do you have an email address?
Let me find one of my cards. I'll tell you wrong, Diane. It's Papa 1944 RP.
Papa?
Yeah, Papa 1944 RP at Yahoo.
At yahoo.com. Excellent. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate
you doing this. You're a dear. All
Well,
right.
take
Later
care.
on.
Have a good
All right.
one.